Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are welcome in video number 2. If you remember, in video number 1, we create a machine class. If you remember in this part, we create a machine class. This class consists of 2 instance variables, brand name and power. And also we created 2 constructors, multi-argument constructor and zero-argument constructor. And also we created 2 getters, 2 getter methods for the brand name and the power. And also we created a setter method for the brand name instance variable. Then 2 methods, switch on and switch off. And also we actually created or we wrote a display method. This is the class that we actually created in video number 1. As you see here, public class machine, 2 instance variables, brand name and power, brand name of type string and power of type boolean, and this is zero argument constructor. As you see, this is multi-argument constructors. These are getter methods. This is getter method for a brand name, which returns the brand name value. This is actually get power, which returns whether the machine is on or off. And also this is actually to change the brand name. This is setter method for a brand name instance variable, and this is also another setter method to change the power value to true, where switch off to change the power value to false, and this is the display method. Today we are going actually to create another class in order to test the machine class. And in part 2, we are going actually, as you see here, we are going, this is part 2, write a Java class called TestMachines, which has a main method to test your code as follows. So this is the first requirement. We need to create another class. We call this class as test machines actually. So now I will go here. Okay, a new Java class test machines. But this is actually test machine class. This is the first requirement in the question. Okay, which has a main method. Okay. Now here we just create only the class, but without a main method. Write a Java class called TestMachine. This is the class, as you see, has been created. Now we need to create a main method, and you have to remember actually the main method header, which is public static void main. This is actually, you have to remember this header, public static void main. The main method, it is a very important method in Java. Why? Because you have to remember that Java program starts its execution from the main method. If there is no main method, this means there is no actually output to your code. So the main method, it is very important. Again, why? Because Java program, remember that Java program starts its execution from the main method. This is the header, public static void main. So this is requirement number 1. Write a Java class called TestMachine and has a main method. This is the main method. Now the remaining requirements will be written where? In the body of the main method. Let us see. Now create a machine object to be initialized to Dell brand and to be off. This means here we need to create an object. We need to instantiate an object from the class, from the machine class, and actually initialize its brand name to Dell and its power to be off. So this is actually the explanation of this requirement. Okay. So here again, we need to create a machine object. You remember how we can create an object? Create an object, we need to use the new operator. The new operator. Here we are going to create machine objects. This means an object of type what? Of type machine. So we write machine. So this is the data type of the object. This is the data type of the object. Let us select any reference for this object. Let us say machine 1, M1, equal a new. This is the operator. A new machine. This is the constructor. This part represents the constructor. We need to use a multi-argument constructor. If you see in the machine, this is a multi-argument constructor, as you see, which consists of two arguments. The first one of type string, which represents the brand name, where this it is the Boolean, which represents whether the power is on or off. So here machine, and the question, the brand Dell. So this should be Dell. Okay, followed by actually the power. It is off, means this is false. Means false. So here we create a machine object which is initialized, which its instance variable brand name initialized to Dell, and its power is initialized to false. And this object is referenced by M1. By M1. So I will show you now. When you write M1 dot, you will see all methods that actually developed in the machine class. You will see in a get power, display, get brand name, set brand name, switch off, switch on. All these actually methods actually were written in the machine class. Okay. To refer to this machine object, we use the reference variable M1. Now let us go to another requirement here. As you see, create another machine object. But here the question asks you, requires from you to create an object by using zero argument constructor, not a multi-argument constructor. This case, we will use a zero argument constructor, but in this case we need to invoke two setter methods. Why? To assign sharp brand name and to assign true to its power. Okay. Here, as you see, create another machine object, a machine. This is the data type M2 equal a new machine. Which one? Machine, this one. We create by using a zero argument constructor. Zero argument constructor, this one, we use this one. As you see here, there is no actually any assignment statement in the zero argument constructor. But here we need to assign sharp to brand name and on to power. So how we can do this? We can write M2 dot set brand name. Set brand name, which is what? Sharp. Sharp. And M2 dot switch on. Switch on. So in this case, when you create an object by using zero argument constructor, and you need to initialize some values to its instance variables, in this case you need to invoke the setter methods like set brand name and switch on. Now we have two objects, M1, its brand name Dell and its power off, and also we have M2, another machine, its brand name is sharp and its power is true or on. Okay. Okay. Now let us indentation very important. Okay. Now I will go to actually next requirement. Print the status of the two created machine objects. If you remember how we can, okay, how we can print the status. How we can print the status. If you go to the machine class that we created in video number 1, you will see here display. Display can print the status. So here we need to invoke the status for both. So here M1 dot display and M2 dot display. Now let us run the code. Let us run the code. Run to see the output of M1 display and M2 display. So now the state of this machine is false. The status of this machine is true. So actually here, if you want to write on or off, let us update the machine display. Let us update the display here. And the display, we can update the display. How? We can write F get power is equal to true. This means what? A, if it is true, is on. Is on. No need for this one. Can actually update. Else, else what? Here, let us copy this one. Else, the status of this machine is off. So this is actually display better than true or false. So here, if you go to test machine now again and run, you will see what here. Run. As you see, the status of this machine is off. The status of this machine is on. Is on. Okay. Let us go to the next requirement in this question. Declare and create an array that can hold up to 3 machine objects. Here we need to create an array which hold machine objects. Okay, which hold machine objects. Here it is very easy. Okay, now to create an array, we can write machine in an array, machines, okay, equal new machine. How many objects? Of 3. Of 3. So here, as you see, we create an array which hold machine objects, and a machine data type, same as this class, 3, up to 3. It is not an integer or double. You learned before in M105, we can create integer double. Now we create an array of machines. Now we need to add machines to this array. Let us see in next record. Fill the array with the suitable data. Okay, fill the array with the suitable data. Okay, now array here, we already have 2 machines, M1 and M2. So machines of 0 equal M1. Machines of 1 equal M2. We need to create another machine in order to add to an array, because our array can hold 3 machines. So now we need to create another machine. So I will show you another way. So machines of 2 equal new machine. Now we create an object directly, a new machine. Okay, we said in a Dell, Sharp, let us see in a Lenovo. Okay, and its state is what is false. False. Okay. Now, as you see, we filled our array with 3 objects: M1, M2, and a new objects, Lenovo and false. Or you can write actually in a Dell. You can write another one Dell, or you can keep it as Lenovo. Here, let us see the next one. Print how many machine objects of a brand Dell in the array. Now we need to see how many. So here we need to iterate over an array. In order to actually count how many of type Dell. Okay. This should be actually comment statement like this one, yes. Here, for integer I equals 0, I less than machines dot length I plus a plus. So here I forget actually to create counter. Now we need integer counter equal 0. Okay. Now we need to check if what? If machines of I dot get brand name, if machine dot get brand name is equals to Dell, Okay, we need actually, this means counter plus. Okay, now as you see how we can actually check. So in a machine of I dot get brand name dot equals Dell, then counter plus plus. We need to increment the counter by 1. Here you can write okay s system dot out dot print line okay here plus the counter. There are 5 or 1 plus machines of type Dell. Now run to see what we get. There are 1 machines of type Dell. If you want to now delete Lenovo, make it Dell. Now M1 is Dell. We knew this one Dell. Now see how many. I run. There are 2 machines of type Dell. 2 machines of type Dell. And as you see, the most important, how we actually recognize the brand name of the machine objects that held or that hold by machine array. Machines I dot get brand name dot equals Dell. It is equals incremental counter. Now assuming that instead of Dell we write Lenovo. We need to search how many Lenovo in a Lenovo. To see now run to see 0. No Lenovo. There are 0 machines of type Lenovo. Assuming no sharp, need to check sharp. Sharp run. Now there are 1 machines of type sharp. I will return to Dell as the question. Dell. How many Dell? So here let us put Dell. And here run. 2 machines of type Dell. Okay. Now the next requirement, declare and create now an array list of machine objects. Array list of machine objects. If you remember, this is Java collection. So here, okay. Now we can create array list. If you remember, array list. Now we need to import. Remember, we need actually to import the Java utility here. Otherwise, we get an error. So array list here of what? Machine. Hold machine. What we call this one? Let us say machine. Okay. Machine list. Equal new array list of what? Again here, machine. So now we create an array list, and remember that the difference between array list and array list is a dynamic array. This means can be actually extended or can be shrunk. Okay, now we create an array list. This list will hold machine objects. threshold machine objects as you see here. Machine. Okay. What is the next requirement? Fill the list with the suitable data. Fill the list with the suitable data. Let us now actually machine list. If you remember how we can add. Remember add M1. Need to add also M2. We need to add هنا machine list dot add. We need هنا to create a new machine. A new machine. Okay, I will write here Lenovo a false. You can also add another one, Control C here, Control V, in another machine, Lenovo. Another machine, okay, here, Sharp. And here, a true. Okay, here. At the beginning, not you, and here you can put also Sharp. Okay, well, this is actually false. Okay. So here, as you see, I didn't copy this one. I copy. Okay, to show you here. Fill the list with the suitable data. Different. Now we add M1, M2. Here you can create directly an object and directly insert it to the machine list. Okay. So the machine list actually holds how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objects. 5 or 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 6 machine objects. Now brand, how many machines objects are on the list? So we need actually also to iterate over, okay, over the array list. So now if you remember in M1 false, okay, M2 if you remember switch on, and 1 on, okay, 2 on, so 2 machines on. If you want to make this is true, to increase how many, you can make this one true. So M2 true, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us see how we can iterate now. Counter again equals 0. Initialized, assign 0 to counter. Now for I equals 0, I less than machine list, not dot length, dot size. I plus F. What? Now we need actually machine, a machine list dot get I. Now we return machine get I dot the brand name, no, not get power. True. If it is true, we need counter plus plus. So iterate. So now count how many on or off. So here system.out.print line, there are here plus counter okay, there are machines that their is on. Okay, now if you run you will see, okay, run, now see the output, and as you see there are 4 machines that their status is on. 4 machines, 1 will M2, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is actually the code for part 2. If you want, I can actually copy it to a notepad to be very clear for you from here. Okay, this one, copy. I will show you here. Now this is actually the code. Here, as you see, write Java class called TestMachine, which has a main method. If you want, I can actually delete all these. Okay, so this is actually, or keep it, no problem. So here, write Java class, public class TestMachine, public static void main, and this is actually the code. Okay. Okay. So this is the last part. Okay, I hope it is very clear now for you. I hope you get benefit from this video number 2. See you inshallah in video number 3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.